there's been conjecture at the minute about what's going on with Lewis Hamilton and why he's not quite getting the wins that he was. How do you think he's doing?
Lewis has got a huge amount of natural ability. I mean, it's a God-given gift, and that happens to not an awful lot of people, but certainly in every sphere, you get that gift from God. He's got it. It's not always easy to keep the head, the physical, and the mental in alignment, and I think he's going through a period of time where he may be struggling with that. But make no mistake, he's a really good racing driver. But there are a lot of good racing drivers. To be a truly great one, there's a focus, a commitment that some people are not prepared to accept. And I'm not suggesting he doesn't take it seriously. Of course he does. Mercedes-Benz, he's been employed by Mercedes-Benz. Now, they can't afford to be midfield runners. They've got to be up front. So that's a big challenge. And Rosberg, his teammates, very polished driver now, hasn't won as many Grand Prix as Lewis has. But the two of them, the only man you're really competing against, because he's got the same tyres, the same car, the same setup, is your teammate. So Lewis at the moment is struggling with handling Lewis, but that's not unusual. I mean, I was with Graham Hill. I chose not to be with Jim Clark because he was the best racing driver I ever raced against. And I didn't think if I'd raced with him, my career would go as fast as if I were racing for another team. So you have to be careful who you choose to be with and who your teammate is, because if he's quicker than you are, then it's a more painful experience, because that's the only real judgment that there is, because the Ferrari might be a better chassis or whatever than the Mercedes, but if you're with the same team as your teammate and he's going quicker than you, that's the biggest threat and the biggest challenge.
So if you were to sit down with him, or if you were to be in his shoes, what would you do? How would you handle the situation?
Oh, I think I would just readdress myself and change the script a little bit for my own delivery, and be sure that I was better prepared, better aligned. My mechanics had better communication with me. You need to have almost a love affair with them, because there's probably only 6 or 7 of them looking after your car, and there's only one lead man, your number one and the number two. They've got to be the best. They've got to want to do it for you, and they've got to raise their game as well. So it's a motivational thing. It's really developing people, and most of all, mind management. You've got to sacrifice a lot of things in order to get the success, the big time success, and not just a flash. To be there long term is the big challenge.
It's one of the problems, though, isn't it, that when you're a young driver or you're a young